Okay, can you guys see the presentation? Yeah, okay. I just realized everyone's muted. I had to look at the screen real quick. Perfect. So I think we're good to record. Amazing. Okay, so welcome everybody to the second official information session for the Wejibabandan 2026/2027 cohort. We'll go through the presentation, we'll do the questions at the end, and for now you'll just kind of get to learn about the program itself. The program itself, hold on, there you go. The program itself will go through case studies for previous cohorts so that we can kind of see how they did in the program, what they were before the program, during the program, and after the program. Every experience is different in the program. Sorry, I'm just going to mute Emily. Sorry, Emily, I had to mute you real quick. I could hear your paper flipping. So every experience is different. It really depends on the level of effort you bring into it, the drive, the passion you bring into it. So every experience will be very different and the outcome will be very different. And then we'll go through how the application process works, any tips and tricks from our perspective, and then we will go into the questions at the very end. Okay, so let's start with meeting your team. So first off, I'll introduce myself. Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa. I'm Algonquin Mohawk from Kitigan Zibi Anishinaabe and Ganawage. I am a multipreneur, so I have 8 businesses that I've built over the past 10 years. They all kind of diversified in different fields, kind of like Emily over here. I kind of just tried a lot of things, liked a lot of things, stuck with it, and then carried the knowledge from the one business to transfer to the next, and so on and so forth. And the idea was never to have 8 business. It kind of just happened that way. And I'm glad that it did because I was able to learn a lot in different fields at different stages of business and then kind of help multiple people in that sense. I've been doing bookkeeping consulting for 9 years, although recently I switched more to financial literacy workshops for Indigenous communities. So that's mainly what I focus on now when it comes to the finance side of it. But then I'm also a licensed financial advisor in Ontario. So I help with investments and just managing personal and business finances for anyone and everyone who lives in Ontario. And then I'm also the program coordinator for the Wejibabandan Incubator. This is my year 2. Last year was amazing. It was really fun, and I look forward to doing it again this year. So my goal as your coordinator is I've built my businesses. I've had fun doing it. I've learned a lot of it. And now I want to help other people build theirs using the knowledge and experience that I've gained over the years. Up next, so this is Zachary. This is your other co-coordinator. He's Dakota First Nation. He is a community builder. He works at Adaawe. He is the main, I would say, face of Adaawe. If you've come into the space, you definitely know who Zach is. He has great connections, great drive. He does really good at connecting dots for you. So he will be that point of liaison for you in the program is if you need anything, whether it's to find something, to find someone, to figure out how to do something, he'll be that dot connector for you with all of his many community relationships that he has. And as the bottom here, he says he will gladly be your gopher. So anything you need during the program, he will be there to go out and get it for you. Okay, the rest of the team. So I will be your incubator lead coordinator as well as your finance coach. Zach will be the co-lead. Carla is our business development coach. She is fantastic. She currently does work with Adaawe, and so if you've met with her already, you know how amazing she is. But she has a few businesses of her own. She has her own immigrant cohort, kind of like this, but for immigrants. And she does an amazing job. So having her on the team is amazing. She will be the one to kind of work with you weekly to see what your goals are in business and how she can get you there. So whether that's connecting dots as well, whether that's reframing, restructuring, developing, building relationships, Carla will be your person for that. We also have a mindset coach that will be coming in this year. This is really to help with the mental load of business. So everybody deals with imposter syndrome, with doubt, with all the emotions are felt by everybody, whether they express it or not in business. And so having a mindset coach there will be really helpful for you guys to kind of unpack and unload the internal struggle you're having in business. And then a marketing team. So we don't have just one person on your team. It'll be a few people. And so we're still finishing off who they're going to be. So that's why there's no photos or names yet, but they will be on our team and they will be amazing. Okay. The rest of the team. So these are kind of people that are coming in and out, but they are still heavily involved in the ecosystem of the Wejibabandan and for your ecosystem as well. So we have our elder in resident, Claudette Commanda. We have Magnolia, who is here on the call with us. She's the national manager who does amazing work for women and youth entrepreneurs. We have Trisha Patura, who is one of the owners of Mini Teepee. She is our entrepreneur in residence, so she'll be popping in a couple times throughout the program to give advice. You can chat with her, kind of pick her brain on how she did certain things so that maybe you can implement them and so on and so forth. Same thing with Mark. He is the owner of Birch Bark Coffee. He is heavily on the wholesale side of things, so he is great to pick his brain about that. I know he just went into Costco and a few other big names, so he is a really good asset to have on the team as well. We have Ashley Clark, who is an Incubator alumni. She was part of the first cohort and has been really successful in her business journey for the past 3 years. So she will be popping in again to ask questions and to kind of help you guys along the journey. For legal purposes, we have Connor from Gallings. He comes in and does workshops on how to incorporate, how to create contracts that are, legally um, well thought out. So he comes in to do your legal stuff. Tax workshops with Jessica. She's a CPA. She comes in and talks about how tax season looks like, the implications with that, and she's really great when it comes to the finance side of supporting. And then we have another peer mentor who is Colleen Nolan, which will be helping with a few things in the program as well, that we will cover a little bit later on. But these are just the front-facing ones. There's a lot of people in the background who are here to support and help you guys. And so you're definitely in a very well-loved big team to help you guide you on your journey. Okay, so let's go over some of the program questions, highlights, everything else in between so that you can be fully informed and make a decision based on that. So the Wejibàbandan name was given by Elder Claudette Commanda, and it means a place to dream in Algonquin and Anishinaabe, and it's named to reflect our commitment to fostering entrepreneur vision and success. So I think it's a really beautiful name. I think it's very fitting. Zach and I like to kind of joke around and call it the Wedgie as a shortened version. So right now we're going in the Wedgie season 4. Okay, so let's go over the program. So who is the incubator for what it is? So the Wejibabandan Incubator is designed for early stage Indigenous entrepreneurs who are already generating revenue, but still need like the really strong foundations based. So essentially, you're really good at what you do, you have the passion for it, you have the drive to figure it out, and you figured it out to this point, but maybe if we look back, the foundation is kind of wonky. Maybe there's missing some steps that we can go back and fix. And so we're looking for people who are motivated, they're self-directed, they're looking for support with business and all of the systems needed to build a sustainable business. But you bring the drive needed to kind of fully commit to the program. So it would people who are go-getters is who we're looking for, passionate about their crafts, motivated but need structure, resourceful problem solvers because there's always problems in business. So are you resourceful enough to figure it out or know who to ask to help figure that out? Making sales but lacking systems, wearing all the hats because that's what we all do in business is we wear all the hats. We're finance experts apparently. We're really good at building websites. We are good at pricing things. And so we wear all the hats, even though that's not our favorite part of the business. And then figuring out as you go. So if these sounds like you are perfect for the program. What is the Wejibabandan? And so this is just a very small glimpse of it. We will go in details a little bit further on. But the Wejibabandan is a 15-week intensive business development program. And I always like to highlight the intensive part because it's a lot happening in a short period of time. And every cohort has expressed how overwhelmed they felt and how it was a lot. But at the end, they were so proud of themselves for continuing the program when they wanted to give up, but then two, to see where they started off, how they thought it was impossible, and then where they are at the very end of the program. So it's a very intensive program, but again, there's so many people behind you in the team to get you there, and it's just to take it one day at a time. So the program runs from September 1st to December 10th. It's full-time immersive experience. So we don't only teach, we also teach and apply right after so that everything is well learned and absorbed. You get a living wage and a startup grant, which I will cover a little bit further in as well. And I think the most important thing is that it's grounded in Indigenous teachings and community. And so we really value and bring in the Indigenous culture into business. I think there's a stark difference between a Western way of doing business and an Indigenous way of doing business. And so we kind of present you the Indigenous way of doing it. And it's totally up to you as a business and an owner to decide if you want to bring that into your business or not. Building a business in a good way. So a good way could look different to each and every one of you. So it's to figure out what is a good business way for you, and then how can we help you build that. And it's designed to help entrepreneurs move from informal to structured. So again, kind of winging it to now we have structure, we have systems, we know what we're doing in terms of the foundation part of business. The goals for the business. So again, like we mentioned, informal to intentional. So it's really kind of taking your business, everything you've done, peeling it back, looking back at all the foundation pieces, make sure they are there, and then gluing everything back together and then moving with intention is the goal of the program. Going from uncertain to confident. So we are good at what we do, but not every aspect of business. So finding confidence in public speaking, finding confidence in making decisions really quickly, leading with clarity. These are all things you learn in the program. And over the 15 weeks, we look back and you can really see the growth of each cohort, which is really amazing. And then lastly, going from survival to sustainability. So we don't want to just continuously chase the next dollar and pay a bill, chase the next dollar and pay a bill. So it's really to look at your business, what your goals are, creating a sustainable business where you are months ahead in terms of income and you know where you're going, you know what you're looking for. You're not just trying to find any low seed fruit, I guess is what they would say. So we really want to build a sustainable business where it's a long-term success, not just short-term. And who is the cohort for? And so these are just cohorts that we've had for the past 3 years, but we're looking for Indigenous entrepreneurs generating revenue up to $75,000 per year. This is gross, so before any expenses are taken off. And it's a very wide range. It's from a couple dollars to 75K. You don't have to be in a specific spot on that scale, just as long as you fall within there. You're a side hustler or you're in the early stages of business. So you still have a full-time job, but you're kind of teeter-tottering between quitting that to fully emerge into the world of entrepreneurship, or you've just quit your job and now you're figuring it out in the world of business. So there's really a lot of types of entrepreneurs we're looking for this program, but we just are really looking for someone who has that drive to really follow their passion in their business. Ready to build strong systems. So you're open to learning everything. Obviously, in business, as you grow, you offload all of the things you don't like. So you find yourself an accountant, you find yourself a lawyer, but in the meantime, to learn all of those aspects is really knowledgeable for you to help make informed decision when you're talking to your finance person or you're talking to your lawyer. So still learning, wanting to learn everything. and then looking for accountability, mentorship, and support. So from just speaking to everyone at the beginning, you all definitely fall into here, so that's really exciting. Program highlights. So we talked about living wage and grants, so this is where we go over the details. So you make $25 an hour as a living wage with the program for 37.5 hours a week, 15 weeks, and you're paid bi-weekly. You also get a $5,000 startup grant. The grant is broken up into 3 installments. So the first installment, you get $1,500 at the start of the program. There's a few requirements you need to put for that money. But besides that, you kind of sit with yourself, sit with your finance coach, which would be myself, and just discuss what are the things you are wanting to buy for your business? What are you needing? Do you need any schooling, any education, any tangible items? What are we looking to spend this money on in a smart way? And so once you get the first installment, halfway through the program, we have a developmental week, which is not a week off, but it's a week where you're stepping away from the program to work on your business solo. And so that midweek, if you've met all of the requirements, then you get the second installment of $1,000. And again, we sit together, we figure out what should you spend this money on? What makes sense? What are you looking for? Can we find better deals somewhere else? So we kind of go through that together. And then the last installment is the remaining amount. And again, it's received upon successful completion of the program and deliverables. And then everything will need receipts to prove that everything was purchased as shown on your grant request. A few highlights of what we cover in the program. So we cover branding and marketing. We go for weekly mentorships. So weekly you will meet with your finance and business mentor, and then it kind of switches to bi-weekly halfway through the program as you don't need as much support anymore. Financial systems, legal, tax support, how to network, how to speak, procurement opportunities, marketing and sales. We do daily grounding. So every morning before we start the program, we sit down, we smudge, we just take time to really like slow down, set our intentions for the day before the crazy gets going. And so just being mindful of setting the day off on a good foot. And then community connection. So there's so many highlights that we will continue to go through throughout the presentation, but those are just a few highlight ones. So as mentioned, the program is a full-time commitment from September 1st to December 10th, the full 15 weeks. So from Tuesday to Thursday, you are on site at Adaawe from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On days where we have, which is only one Thursday a month, but on days where we have the mixer with Adaawe, then we start at 12 because then we have to go to the mixer afterwards. So we go from 12 to 7. Everything will be highlighted in the calendar for you once you are brought on board. But just so that you know, these are your times for the incubator program. Mondays and Fridays are self-guided days from home. So you don't come into the space, you stay home and work on any business related items. We do have action items in your book to kind of help guide you through the day so that you can learn the flow of work and how to help set that for yourself. And then we need active participation in workshops and mentorships, and then meeting your weekly deliverables and milestones. The last important things for commitment is there has to be an 85% attendance minimum, and that's tied to your grant. And so active participation in regular programming, showing up to the program every day, Tuesday to Thursday, attending workshops, attending your mentor meetings, and attending the cohort activities. Completion of weekly action items and program deliverables are also an expectation, and we will go over that, what that looks like a little bit later on. Successful participants are open to feedback and coaching, willing to support fellow cohort members, committed to showing up consistently, and ready to invest in business growth. Okay, so what to expect during the program. So we do take the holistic approach that I mentioned, we bring in the Indigenous culture into it. And so we have the elder in resident, Claudette Kamanda, that comes in twice during the program to have a lunch with everyone, get to know everyone. You get to ask questions, have one-on-ones with the elder, and ask any questions that personal and business related that kind of play hand in hand. Again, we do daily grounding to really slow down the mornings before everything gets chaotic. We do daily end of day meditation and mantras. And so just finishing off the day on a good note. The mantra is picked on the end of the day, depending on the feeling that everyone wants to end with. We introduce money as medicine sessions, defining your thriving life and business workshops. We do a dream board workshop. For the dream board, we do one at the very beginning on the day 1 or 2 on a dream board of what you think you want as your business end goal. And then at the very end of the program, we do it again. Is there anything you want to change now that we've gone through the program and you've restructured maybe your business, you've solidified your business goals? And so does that look different now? We will have an alumni panel. So the alumni from previous cohorts will come in on day 1 or 2 to kind of sit with you guys and talk about how their experience with the program was, what are normal feelings to have during the program, what happens when you're feeling overwhelmed, how they dealt with it. So it's really nice to have the alumni come back and give their perspective of the program. You have access to on-site gym. So in the basement, there is a gym to use if needed. If you're one that needs to get moving when you're stressed, then that is an option. And then again, your bi-weekly sessions with your mindset coach will also be a very well-needed brain dump, as we could say. So a few things we will go through when we look back at your business foundation is, are you incorporated or do you want to stay sole proprietor? Based on that, we can go either directions. Have you secured your business name? No, then let's secure it for you. Let's go on the website and pay the $60 for 5 years. Do you have your tax number? Do you need your tax number? So if yes, then let's go do that together. Do you have insurance? Do you have any certification that you need to get to be licensed in your field? We set up your corporate binder. So it's just a binder that every time we complete something in your business, we print it out and put it in your binder. So that way at the end of the program, you have a physical representation of what you've done in the program. Because it moves so quick, we kind of tend to forget when we look back at what we did. And so having the corporate binder will help for that. And it also helps if you're looking for a specific document, then it's already in your binder for you. We will set up your Wave. So that's the finance system that we recommend. Do you need Square? Do you need Shopify? So kind of going through all the business development aspects with you guys and helping set that up at the same time. We also go through production. So sourcing your supplies. Is there anywhere else we can source at a better cost? What is your cost of goods versus your retail price? Does it make sense? So really looking at every aspect of your business to make sure that everything is in favor of being successful and sustainable. Do you want to sell to the government? If yes, do you need to obtain a security clearance? If yes, okay, let's do that together. So a lot of the steps we do are together. The first few weeks will seem kind of slower pace because we're really looking back at your foundation. And then after that is when it kind of propels further and faster into building new things in your business. And then on the personal development side, we really help with preparing for meetings, responsiveness to emails or phone calls, public speaking. So how to prep yourself to be able to speak confidently in front of people, whether it's online, whether it's in person, how to articulate, how to try to remove the ums and the ahs. We do digital adaptation, separating your business finances and your personal finances. Everything finance related, we do as a group workshop. And then during our one-on-one mentor sessions, that's when you and I would sit down and then look at your personal numbers based on what we learned today. So the goal is really to separate your business and personal finances. So make sure you have a business account and a personal banking account. It makes tax season a lot easier to really have those separated. Personal finance management. So then we look at, okay, how much do you make? How much are your expenses? Does it make sense? If yes, perfect. If not, what can we do? So can we increase your income? Can we decrease your expenses? And if not, then figuring out a third option. We set goals together. We look at how to budget, and we budget together at each session. Installing spending controls, so kind of help if you know that you like to spend money on XYZ, then what can we do to kind of help you not, essentially. And so whether it's you are a crafter and you just can't help buying supplies and you have a whole collection and you haven't gone through it yet. So what can we do to try to break that habit? So a lot of it is habit breaking and creating new healthy habits in finance. While I also teach how money works on the personal side, because that always bleeds into business anyways. We also do offsite visits. So we do visit a few Indigenous businesses to kind of see how they run things, how it is to have a storefront, how it is to have a warehouse, how it is to have a service-based company. So we go and see it firsthand from an Indigenous lens, which is really fun. We do banks. So you could definitely just do banks over the phone, but we can also do it in person with you guys. So going to the bank and sitting down with them to open a business bank account, bringing all the papers that are needed. Your insurance provider. So do you have business insurance for your business and your car? Looking at that to make sure that you are fully covered. Law firm, same thing. Do you need a lawyer in your pocket? Let's find one that kind of knows your type of artistry that you're in. When it comes to public speaking and networking experiences, we do have a few things that are booked ahead of time, and then some things that we book during the program that are not pre-planned. So one thing that we like to do is called the 1 minute question, think on your feet game. So this says every morning we start off with, we have a little karaoke microphone. And so we give microphone to two people. One person gets to pick a random question from a bowl of like 100 questions that are just random questions. And they ask the person with the other microphone that question. So let's say it's, if you could only wear one color for the rest of your life, what would it be? And so that person then has to speak on that right away. They don't have time to think about it. They have to speak on it, that topic, for 1 full minute. So you're learning how to create fuller sentences. You're thinking on your feet for like quick questions and answers. And so it really helps develop that muscle for when you get to the interview side of business and being interviewed, whether it's on TV, whether it's pre-recorded or, just on the spot. But that really helps build that muscle. And then halfway through the program, we then have you stand up with your microphone, kind of like presenter style. So we do a lot of exposure therapy in that sense to get that brain moving every single day. We do a final business showcase presentation. And so on graduation, you will have the opportunity to present your business, where it started, where it is now, and talk about all the accomplishments you've had throughout the program. We do have a PR class, and so we have someone coming in to teach you how to present and speak and all of that. We do an Invest Ottawa panel, and so that's normally around Truth and Reconciliation Day. They have us come in, they have all of their staff come into the auditorium space, and you get to sit on stage and kind of just talk about your business. So it's really getting to learn how to speak about your business, how to introduce your business to someone else, and then you kind of just become so confident and comfortable that it's just like second nature at that point. Attending the Adaawe mixer, sometimes we have you guys go up and speak on your business again. Sometimes we give you little prompts of meet 3 new people during the mixer and let us know like who you've met, just to kind of guide you to more networking, opportunities versus staying in the corner and trying to stay quiet and secluded. Business introduction video. So this is at the very first week of the program. We have you sit down and we record you and we ask questions and you talk about your business. And then at the very last week, we do it again. And then we put the video side by side and you can see the drastic transformation in confidence of talking about your business and just the amount of eye contact that happens more towards the end. And so it's a really unique experience to see a side-by-side view of one person in 15 weeks and how much they have truly grown professionally, spiritually, just it's really cool. So that is a really exciting thing. Even if, let's say you don't make the program, trying it on your own at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, just to see your growth is really amazing. Okay, up next, the roadmaps. So participants move through 5 stages of business development. We've kind of condensed it into 5 so that it's not too overwhelming. So the first phase is really looking back at the foundations and solidifying those foundations, working on those foundations. The second phase is branding and visibility. So for phase 1, if we look here, we really look back at what you currently have in place, what is lacking, what is missing, what works really well, and then we kind of build from there. Phase 2 for brand and visibility, we work on your branding, your messaging, your logo. Even if you have a logo, we revisit your logo to see, is there anything we want to change, that we can change? Maybe your branding colors can change, maybe your logo itself can change. Sometimes we are really tied to the logo and it doesn't change, and that's okay. But the option is there that it can be changed with a professional going back and forth to create something that you love. Website planning. So we start to create the content in terms of photos and written, and then we have the web designer put it on a website for you. Content creation, so social media, photos. Do you bring in your products if you are product based, and we take photos of your products with the light and the fancy cameras, and then that gives you content to post and to put on your website. We take photos, headshots of you guys as well. So anything branding to create a professional presence is what this phase is for. And then we also go into phase 3, which is sales and activation. So this is when we've done the work, we've figured out what your brand is and what your message is and your values, and now we're going into the sales portion of this phase. And so then we're pushing out sales strategy, we're networking, we're doing outreach, we're doing procurement opportunities, we've developed your website, and then we're doing customer acquisitions. So a lot of this, Carla, your business mentor, helps with. And then we also have people coming in to teach workshops on how to do these as well. So how to get on the procurement website for government work or XYZ. The phase 4 is marketing and growth. And so this is really refining your operations. This is sales. This is marketing. This is the fulfillment. And so at this phase is when we have Mark come in from Birch Bar Coffee, and then you get to pick his brain on the wholesale part of the business. And then phase 5 is sustainability. So now we've gone through your whole business, we've solidified it, we've reinforced it, and now it's time to make sure that it lasts for a long time. So when it comes to the financial aspect of it, we go over how to get out of debt, how to budget, how to make money, and then now it's how to grow and save your money. So we go through different types of financial literacy type of workshops with that. Long-term growth planning. So in business, what is your long-term goals? How can we get you there? How can we help plan that for you? Grant writing, do we need to apply for grants? Then if yes, then we have someone come in to help write the grants with you guys. And then we have a few grants already set that we need to apply for, but can we find more is what we're looking for. Business optimization, your final presentation at graduation. And it looks really condensed, but when you spread it out, there's a lot of workshops and knowledge in there. So the incubator is actually built on 6 pillar foundations. So we go over business foundations, financial systems, branding, sales, leadership and professional development, and then Indigenous entrepreneurship. So bringing in the Indigenous aspect into it. So we already kind of talked about this, so I will graze over it. But at the very end, I will email all of you a copy of this presentation so that you can really read it and reread it if needed. So business foundation is to build the structure you need to operate confidently. So that's what we do at the first few weeks. Financial system is to gain the knowledge and tools. So you don't only want to have a system in place, you want to understand your system. So we really focus on that as well. And included in that is like your profit margins and everything else. Branding and marketing, learn how to clearly communicate your value and attract your ideal customer. So who are you targeting? We tend to just say anybody and everybody, but if we really narrow it down and focus on your demographic, then it helps you grow a lot faster. So really figuring those things out are important. Sales and growth, develop the confidence and skills needed to grow your business and generate revenue. So again, Carla helps a lot with this. And then throughout the program, there are supporting workshops and exposures that come with that. Leadership and professional development. So building the confidence to communicate, to problem solve, and to just speak about your business confidently is what this pillar is for. Indigenous entrepreneurship and holistic growth. So build your business in a way that aligns with your values, your well-being, your community. And so, like I mentioned at the very beginning, doing business in a good way is very dependent on each person. So it's to find out what is a good way for you and then help you build that. As an example, everybody, all cohorts, incubator cohorts, will get a working handbook, workbook at the very beginning. And this is kind of what the pages look like. So it goes from week 1 all the way to 15, and this is how it's broken down. So just to give you a representation, this is an example of week 3. So this one where it's heavily focused on finance. So the first page just kind of gives you an outlook of what you're going to be doing that week, a little bit of an explanation, any important dates that are coming up at a glance. When you flip over to your Monday, which is a at-home day, I didn't include in here, but when you flip over to your Monday, it just talks about this is a time for you to work independently, things that you have fallen behind on the week before to catch up on. And so there are some action items to kind of help guide you through that. So as an example, this is a Tuesday. So we always lay out the calendar of in the timeline of what will be happening today so that you're aware of what's happening. And then at the bottom here under action items, there are different quote unquote homeworks for you to do. And so it helps you keep organized to know what you need to complete, what you're missing out on. So for example, this one, open your Credit Karma and Barwell account. So this is to be able to look at your credit score. And it just falls into what we're learning that day. So that would be a homework that you would do, and then you would check it off as completed. Same thing for Wednesday. We get the hourly breakdown. We get your action items over here. And then again for Thursday, the hours and your action items over here. At the end of each week, there will be what's called a week close, and it kind of just recaps all the deliverables that you had for that week to make sure that you didn't forget anything and that you are staying on top of it. We added a brain dump area. I love brain dumps. Sometimes my brain has too many things to hold on to and it gets overwhelmed. And I find if I can just dump it on a page and write it out, then I don't have to worry about remembering it. So every week we'll have a brain dump for you to just kind of unload to kind of help ease the workload mentally. So there's weekly overviews, daily schedules, weekly deliverables, and then space for a brain dump. So it's more than a handbook. It's a working business planner to help guide you through the 15 weeks. So what you'll leave with the program. So you'll have a business model canvas. You'll get a brand kit and logo, whether that's brand spanking new or just refined. You'll get a website content and a website. You'll get marketing system, financial tracking system. Your raise will be set up so that you can invoice directly out of there. You can link it to your bank account so that everything is automated. And then I teach you how to use your Wave account as well. Media outreach list. So you have a list of different marketing people to reach out to grow your business assets, and then final business presentation. You end up with a media kit as well, which is essentially if you're product based, it just your products, photos of everything, their description, the time it takes to create, and the cost, so that if anyone's looking to purchase, you can just send that off to them. And for service-based companies, it's a document that outlines all your services, your prices, and what differentiates you from the competition. Okay, so imagine spending 15 weeks focused entirely on building your business, surrounded by people who are invested in your success and committed to helping you reach your full potential. That's what makes the Wejibabandan so special. You're not only learning and growing as an entrepreneur, you're being paid to build your dream. And I think that's the coolest part about it is that nowhere else will you find someone to pay you to build your business, plus guide you along the way with 20 plus people. So I think this program is amazing. It's an amazing opportunity for anyone who applies. And even if you don't get into the first time, please apply again. We can only take 3 people per year. And so if 30 people apply, that is a small pool of people. And so even though we want to admit so many people, we're limited to what we can. So if you don't make it in the first time, please apply again. It's not that you weren't ready. It's not that you didn't meet the criteria. It's just, it wasn't time this year, but it will be next. And so we tell people not to lose courage and to just keep applying. You can do it and believe in yourself. I think it's the hardest thing we do as entrepreneurs is believe in ourselves. We can easily believe in everyone else. And then when it comes to us, it's a little bit harder. Okay, so the application process. So a quick overview of what that looks like. So the application opened May 29th. We are on our last info session now. The deadline for the application is July 10th. So I would apply sooner rather than later, because we tend to forget. And then if we forget, then we get mad at ourselves and we don't want that. So July 10th is the deadline. I think it's at midnight, so 11:59. After that, we go through and shortlist about 7 people, and then we bring them in for in-person interviews on July 29th and 30th. So keeping those dates in mind that you may need to be available for the 29th and 30th, or 30th, I should say. And then after that, we sit down with the team and we pick our 3 cohorts, which we then announce on August 5th. Okay, so a few tips for applying. So we want you to be honest on where you're at. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for someone who is dedicated, who has the business aspect of the, like the art aspect of the business figured out, the service aspect of the business figured out, but not the foundation, because that's where we come in and really help you out. So we're not looking for perfection. So we want you to be honest on where you're really at, so that if you're brought into the program, we know where to start with you. Show you're ready to take action. So the Wejibabandan is an execution focused program. And so we need you to be able to also reflect that, where you're like rolling with it, like, yeah, let's do it. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm flexible. Let's go. Be clear about your goals. So tell us what you're working towards. That way we know what to focus on with you in the program. Demonstrate commitment. So we are really looking for someone who can commit full time to the program, who is excited about it, and regardless of how hard it gets or how overwhelmed it gets, that they still push through. And we will help you through as well. Like we will drag you along if needed to kind of give you the push that is needed for the final home stretch. One question we get a lot is, if a big contract comes up during the program and I have to step away from the program, what happens then? Because obviously this program supports your business growth, and so we wouldn't stop you from having to step away to do business. Like let's say you need to step away for a couple days, a week or less to complete this massive wholesale order that you have, or you have this really great opportunity to do a speech out in BC and you need to leave for 3 days. We will 100% support you. All we're asking for is open communication. So let us know where you're going, how long you're going for. If it is a big wholesale order, are you able to bring it into the space so that we can do video for you, so that we can be little busy bees. We can help you, down the line of creation. And so it's to just have open communication. And if you can do the work in the space, do the work in the space. We want to really teach people they don't have to isolate themselves in business, that we are here to help. And so if we can help, let us help. And so if you need to, we had last year, she had to make a lot of candles, like a lot of candles. And obviously we can't bring candles into the space because the amount of equipment you'd have to bring in for that is immense. But if we would have loved to set her up downstairs with like tables and everything. And then we could take photos, videos for social media content. We could have helped create them. We could have, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things we could have done. And so if given the opportunity, we would love to do that for you guys. And then focus on growth, not perfection. So no one is perfect. No business is perfect. We're always learning. We're always growing. And so just focus on being a better you, being a better business owner, having a better business, and that's all that's needed. And then lastly, this is Zach and I. The strongest applicants aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who are willing to learn, take action, accept support, and fully invest in their business for the 15-week. So we look forward to walking alongside you. We look forward to helping you grow and watching you grow and see all the beautiful things that you will accomplish. So I will go ahead and stop the recording so that we can go into questions.